Okay, people, so our film today is Hand. This is the new one from Benny Chen, who writes, directs. He also produces the film along with Yang Huxio Gao. Um, Chen also executive produces the film, and there's line production from Ethan Land and Sergio Ramirez. Oscar Pan takes care of the score. We have Mikey Inaguchi on cinematography. Annie Da edits the piece. Right? Casting was handled by Yang Hu Zhao as well as Benny Chen. We have got Rafaela Sakaguchi on production design. Costume design is Yoxing Lee. We got Ella Barrera and Madison Summerfield on hair and makeup. Also, there is Johnny X Wang as our stunt coordinator. Right, so our cast, we have Lin Zhao, played by Zhan Wang. Then there is, I think his wife is played by Yozelu Chen. We have got Anna, right, who works at the restaurant with Lin, played by Wilma Rivera. There is another waiter played by Yang Yao Kui. We got Lu played by Ling Bin Kwai. There's Chef Wang played by Andy Sun. We have our baristas played by Nick McCarthy and Alexis Felix. John, the customer, who we meet halfway through, is played by William Thomas Jones. Our news anchor is played by Mary Matthews. We have got the couple in the park, played by Colleen Frashur and John A. Buer. Restaurant customer, the daughter, is played by Luna Bell. We have then got the mum, played by Amanda Callas. The dad, played by Otto Logan. The son, played by Wolfie Jones. The woman in the park is played by Stephanie Clayton. Our ICE agents are played by Don Barbato and Gabriel Laron. Randy is played by Darren Singleton. We got Kai-yun played by Yan Chai. And I think that's our main cast, right? The gist of the story: trapped between duty and despair, an undocumented Chinese cook begins to question the cost of survival in a country that sees him as invisible as anti-Asian aggression rises outside his kitchen walls. So, this film, it's set in California 2022. And we open up, we have a guy walking down the street holding some coffee and a bag, and then out of nowhere, right, he gets struck from behind, right? He goes to the ground and he just looks up and there's blood coming out of his head, and he's just got this look of shock on his face. Right, so that's how the film opens, right? So you're just like, yo, because it is very jarring. It's very dramatic, right? That suddenly, boom, he's just been struck. So we have that. So then, right, we're in the kitchen, and we've got like Lin, who we learn, right? So the man that we saw, see him in the kitchen, like preparing food, and we get these orders come through for compound chicken, right? Walnut shrimp, Mongolian beef, just these different orders come through. And there's some mix-ups, right? And we get this back and forth and these arguments and just all of this. But it's very tight, right? Our camera is very tight on these people, and we're close up on like Lin chopping and preparing food. So it just feels like very intense, right? But I think as the film goes on, that does feel very indicative of Lin, right? And his world, because he's basically at the restaurant or at home. That's it, right? His family, they're not with him. So we have the idea that his family is back home, right? Because there's a bit where he gets this phone call at the start, and his wife is like, oh, I haven't spoken to you. What's going on? Where are you? Oh, our son, his tuition fees are due, right? Your brother's in the hospital. So we have all of this stuff. So he's working all of these hours to send money back home, right? For his son to go to school, just to pay for his brother's health care, just all of these different things. And so his world is tight, right? It's not, fathomless, right? It's very limited. So with the camera very up close to him, with this intensive look, this is the representation of Lin's world. That's what it seemed like, right? And so we have all of this stuff going on, and we don't see him with a wealth of friends, but it seems that he's very isolated. He's kind of closed off, right? Even when a colleague at work sits near him, it's not like he is opening up with conversation. She asks him some questions, and it's very just here, boom, boom. Nothing else. So we have all of this, but then this other incident happens at the restaurant, and it's an odd one, right? Because I think we've all been in a situation where we've turned up maybe slightly late, but you're a regular and you're just like, and maybe things have been kept aside for you, or you've been given some grace at one point. Now you're kind of expecting it all the time, right? And so you see all of this, but then there's like standing with your colleagues, right? It's respect. It's like making sure that people are treated well. And Lin kind of doesn't hold this up on his end to some degree. Now, we get things from Lin's point of view because, I think at this moment you don't know, but I guess you make assumptions that he might not be in the country legitimately, right? And so Lin's just not trying to rock the boat, right? He's trying to make everyone happy and all of this. So he's like, I'll take care of this situation, which is, all well and good, but it's not necessarily helping his colleague, Anna. So we have all of this, right? So this is giving us this insight into Lin, right? Into everything like that. There's the frustration of the whole wrong order stuff. There's this. There's just all of these different things. The worries from back home. Right? So there's a lot going on. And there's that sense that he just doesn't feel anchored to any of this, right? But you see how different interactions like play on him. Because when he's in the coffee shop, right, that interaction initially, you can see what that means to him. We see that. You know what I mean? And when you think about, like, we all feel good when you get a little boost, right? Especially that unexpected boost. You don't think things are going to go a certain way. You're not expecting a certain thing. So when, it happens, it's just like, oh, thank you. Nice. Like, you know what I mean? It's a little, things are good with the world, right? So then when, this horrible thing happens to Lin, I think it's that makes it even more egregious, right? It's an unjust act, but it's also, squashing that kernel of relief, that kernel of hope, that ray of sunshine someone had just gotten in their life. Now it's been extinguished, And so we see this, but it's also, right, this whole thing of understanding that no one has your back, right? And we have seen this so many times, of the horrendous things happening, but people not stepping in to help, right? They're just videotaping it, right? I just remember this heinous incident. Say heinous, heinous isn't even the word, right? A young lady was raped on the New York subway. I think I believe it was during lockdown or just after. And there were multiple camera angles of this incident. No one stepped in. It was on a busy subway train. No one stepped in to help. And that has been mirrored, so many times, right? With so many different type of incidents. And no one helps. And it is just so indicative of the world today, unfortunately. And so when this incident happens in this film, we see the look on Lin's face, right? This look of horror, this shock, this realization that you're on your own. Now, there is one thing that happens, but it not to a great degree, right? There's an attempt, but it's, it is what it is. And so there's all of this, but then when you know, Lin follows things up, let's just say. The other reaction, right? The counter to all of this, right? The way then he's look, it's this reinforcement of the fear that you are not recognized, right? That you are less than. And we see all of this etched out on Lin's face, you know, which is just like, that is a big thing, man. We have a really good performance from Zhan Wang and also Wilma Riviera, who plays Anna, because the kind of counterbalance between these characters is really important for the film, right? It's really important. It's really, you know, pivotal to these journeys, right? That you just think they are, you know, they're different sex, right? They are from different parts of the world. But, and it's one thing that we have talked about on this podcast, right? With storytelling, that when you boil things down, there are these similarities, right? That make us closer to each other than we, you know, at first may think. And that's the case with Lin and Anna. And, you know, throughout this film, which is just 23 minutes, right? It's not long. But Benny does a great job of giving us these looks, right? Showing us the difference, but also the similarities between, right? The things that should create kinship between Anna and Lin, right? And the humanity between Anna and Lin, right? That there may be disagreement, there may be, right, these moments where you feel a little let down, but when you see someone truly hurting, what do? You know what I mean? And I think we all think we would step up, right? We all think we would be there for someone. Not always the case, right? But within these 23 minutes, Benny shows us the humanity with Anna and Lin. And as I said, Zhang and Wilma do a fantastic job of bringing this to life with body language, with facial expression, right? Just through the movement of a hand, right? The turn of the face, right? Just these small little things speak volumes and really add layers to Anna and Lin. It is, yeah, really, really well played. It really is. You know, just as I said, like, it's camera, it's lighting, it's, you know, all of these things help sell and build, right, the small window that we have for Lin and Anna. But it's very clear. We don't have a whole heap of information on them, right? What's happening in their lives and just all of these things. But, you know what I mean? What we get here speaks volumes. right? I think this is Benny's third short film, right? And yeah, it's just really well done. So look, it's having its world premiere at the Cleveland Film Festival. You know, that's where you will be able to find it, people. And you know, I highly recommend you checking it out. It's the 50th, right? Cleveland International Film Festival as well. You know what I mean? So landmark event, right? And yeah, people, you will be able to watch Hand there. I believe it's playing on the 13th of April. So if you're in Cleveland, definitely go check it out. Otherwise, you know, follow the socials so you can see when it's maybe showing at a festival near you. And people, definitely go take a look because it is really worth the time. As I say, it's just 23 minutes, but it's 23 minutes where you are engrossed in these people's lives. So yeah, people, check it out. Hand.